And then like the trumpet. Dude. Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for stopping by. Today we're diving into a track that doesn't get nearly enough love as it should, and that's Someone Put Your Hand Out by Michael Jackson. So a little bit of background, this song was never released in an album. It was originally just released as a promo single in 1992 for Michael's European leg of the Dangerous Tour. But the reason why I want to talk about this song is it's just incredibly special. You know, it offers a layer of artistry and emotion that make it a hidden gem in MJ's catalog. So what we're going to do here is listen to the track and talk about it. But before we do, make sure to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this. Kind of sounds like a harpsichord of some kind. It's like Mozart playing some pop. Just don't stop till you get enough little monologue before he starts singing. Ah, so beautiful.
I'm so undemanding, 'cause they say love is blind. I live this life pretending I can bear this hurt deep inside.
Oh my God. Just right off the bat, you know, I have to talk about the sort of really subtle instrumentation of the song, right? You have this sort of like kind of train, like kind of percussion to it. It's really subtle, but it keeps the song moving. You know, it's a ballad, but you know, you still got to keep it moving. It has this kind of cowbell, snare-ish type. It's like very reverberated. It's very light. It feels like a little tap, you know, on like a little, you know, cowbell, like bong, bong. Here, let me see if I can play it here.
I can bear this hurt deep inside. The truth
It goes along with sort of the, you know, this song is really incredibly vulnerable, and I think the instrumentation goes so well with that. Metaphorically, the instrumentation is very vulnerable. It's very, very light, right? There's a lot of attention to detail here. Nothing is too strong, abrasive, right? Because this song, lyrically, it is about reaching out. It's about him being vulnerable, asking for love, you know? And I think that the instrumentation really plays along with that. And then obviously the chord progression is just beautiful. I mean, you can hear from the beginning. Just beautiful. Beautiful. Oh, and we haven't even talked about MJ's voice, but the softness, the subtlety. Just incredible. Time after time. It's so subtle. And just the truth is that I'm longing. You know, it's actually really hard to sing like that way for a whole verse and maintain engagement, you know, and kind of maintain a strong, you know, core and like hit the notes perfectly. And I mean, obviously, you know, he had the ability to sing this song in multiple takes, you know, and they picked the best ones. But like, regardless, it's still incredibly impressive. I think a lot of people, and this is something I've said in many of my videos, but I think people underestimate and they overlook the singing ability of Michael Jackson. You know, a lot of people just think of him as a performer, like a dancer, you know, but they don't think about actually his musicality. and this is also his composition ability, his music genius, but just even his singing. I think he truly is the greatest male singer of all time. He is just so incredibly versatile. He can display so much emotion with his voice, and he's so dynamic, and he has so much rhythm in his voice, but at the same time softness, and he's very long, and he can do really long phrases, very short and detached phrases, he's got a lot of power and grit, which we kind of see in this song, that's another thing that I'll talk about, but just absolutely beautiful. I mean, his voice can melt you, and it goes along perfectly with what the song is talking about. I mean, again, it's a very vulnerable song, thus the falsetto goes perfect with that.
Someone put your hand out, begging for your love. All I do is hand out a heart that needs your love.
That chorus. That melody alone, goes perfectly with the chord progression we heard in the beginning of the song, so thus the chorus is fairly similar to that. But it is just so beautiful when he, kind of layers and he focuses on it, and that's what he's doing here with the chorus. I think production-wise, it's fantastic in the sense that part of the verse, or of the chorus verse, is just him being doubled up, and then in the other part of the chorus, you have this kind of layering with on the sides, and you get an even more layered vocal texture in the chorus, and it's great because it keeps you engaged. It changes up the chorus. It's not just like, a simple, chorus, simple vocal layer of the chorus. He puts in, he takes out, let me see if I can show you here. So here's very simple layering, and you get that extra layering. It's so beautiful. Hand out a heart that needs your love. And again, here we hear how amazing his voice is. Begging for your love. And then you get these harmonies, obviously you get more harmonies in those specific points that I mentioned. Love. You just get that perfect vibrato in there. Begging for your love. You get that like perfect vibrato in there, and just it's rich. He puts in a lot of the lower harmonies and a lot of the higher harmonies, and he pans them, and it just it truly just feels like a river just flowing into your ears, as gross or as erotic as that may sound. Handicapped Emotions is such a great lyric. Oh, of what still remains. Beautiful. The strings. Beautiful. Love his ad-libs there. I hate to sound like a broken record here, but there is just so much texture and so much layering in these choruses. You know, he loves strings, of course, and we kind of hear the you know, the introduction of the string of the strings that is in this second verse. But then it continues that layering and that adds and that texture and continues in the chorus with kind of the lowest note. It goes, it's like it's harmonizing perfectly with this chorus, and it's just like a very, you know, low string, and that's what it's doing, and you can hear it right here. You hear it? Beautiful harmonies. Those lyrics to this chorus are fantastic. We'll talk about it later. Oh. Oh my God. Before we hear how he actually adds in a cool bridge, he changes it up here. We don't get, you know, a lot of that nowadays. We don't get a lot of these bridges, number one, let alone a very interesting bridge like this one in pop songs. We just don't. Oh my God, hear how beautiful it is. Just a complete change. We go to another world. Michael's soprano voice here. So beautiful. Oh! That grit, and then like the trumpet. Dude. Perfect instrument to add here, to have a little solo. So vulnerable, so beautiful. Hand down, begging for your love. All I do is hand down a heart that needs your love. There's his ad-libs again. Ooh, the trumpet there. Beautiful, and then we go again. And then, oh my God, someone put your hand out. I'm begging for your love. Right there, you got two vulnerable lyrics right there, right? Someone put your hand out. I'm begging for your love, because all I do is hand out a heart that needs your love. I mean, dude, someone put your hand out. I'm begging for your love, because all I do is hand out a heart that needs your love. Fucking bars, dude. Straight up bars. I mean, just, God, it's like so simple, you know, and it's kind of like dumb, like if you just kind of write it out, you know, like, but like when you put it in this context and when you think of like, you know, obviously the artist, but not even that, you know, just alone, you know, those words, you know, can be incredibly powerful. it's kind of, he's trying to be a little sneaky, not sneaky. I guess he's trying to be a little clever, with the kind of the usage of the word hand in, someone put your hand out. I'm begging for your love because all I do is hand out, right? So he's trying to be a little clever there. And I think, depending on your mentality of the day, you might think it's a little cringy, you might think it's a little corny, but I think on the other hand, depending on how you want to look at it, I think it's very genius. Pop songs, you have to kind of have some cleverness in there. You know what I mean? You can't just have like basic ass lyrics, you got to put something clever in them, and on top of that, and I think a lot of pop songs, even modern ones, have a lot of clever stuff in their lyrics, but the problem is that the music doesn't tend to be as sophisticated. But when it comes to Michael Jackson, not only was he clever in his lyrics, but he was very sophisticated in his composition, right? You listen to this and you're like, this is like a fucking song, dude. Like, this is a actual song that has intention and has sophistication in its songwriting. There's attention to detail. It's complex. It's nuanced, as opposed to a lot of the music of today. Now, I'm totally not, those of you who know me, know my content, I am not the guy to sit here and bash a lot of modern music, because there's a lot of great music still coming out. But, I think, a lot of the mainstream stuff can be very surface level. And now granted, this song was not a hit. I certainly was not. Maybe in European countries, but definitely not in America. But it should have been. But at the same time, it's like, I think it's too heady, I think, for the charts, and I think that's a compliment. I think it's a little too nuanced and sophisticated. And that's the artistry and the genius of MJ, right? He was able to write these hits, Black or White, Billie Jean, but he could also write a song like this, right? But those lyrics, just incredible. And then it goes back into the... Love it. Ooh. Just gorgeous. Just absolutely gorgeous. I think this song is, special for many reasons, right? It is a song that is very well made, and it's, like I mentioned before, very sophisticated, very nuanced. But And obviously, Michael's performance is fantastic. He has the majority of the song. He's very subtle, very vulnerable, right? And then just right at the perfect moment, he introduces that grit right before that trumpet solo, and it just takes the song to a whole other level. That's like my favorite sort of section. That middle part of the song, and then right into the chorus head on with the third act. It's just, it has a perfect journey to it. It's got the exposition, it's got the climax. Michael Jackson knew how to write a song, and I've talked about this countless times before, but so it's special on that front, right? But I think when you think about it, even when you kind of go on a more, I guess, 10,000, 20,000, feet view, it's when you think of him, right, writing a song like this, I think he's being vulnerable. Literally, as just not only the song itself, right? When you listen to it and you're like, okay, you can relate to the song, you can put yourself in the shoes of the song. But when you think of Michael Jackson, this is a guy who was, he's the king of pop. He's the most well-known singer, artist, celebrity in the world, the most famous one, right? But yet he felt such loneliness, and he craved that. Now, at the same time, I'm not going to glorify him. He had a lot of problems. He was incredibly paranoid, and I think a lot of the reason why he was alone and why he was never able to have successful relationships was because of him. That is, let's not, mince words here. That was true. But that doesn't mean that, his experiences and his suffering, just are invalidated. That's not true. because obviously he was in a very specific position that it was very easy to be paranoid, right? So I don't excuse it, but I understand it, right? But he yearned for that, that love from someone, that pure love, a person that wasn't just interested in the money, or the opportunities that they could get with him, but they were interested in him purely, right? That they were able to see Michael Jackson, the man, right? And like remove all of, the king status, and his persona, right? The cult of personality, right? Surrounding him. I don't know if that's the right phrase, but usually people use that for dictators. But yeah, like he has this larger than life persona, and he was trying to be seen, as a person, right? And I think when you think of it like that, I think this song becomes even more powerful, right? Because it came from a guy like Michael Jackson, right? You would think he would have all the people in the world, like that he wouldn't need someone to love him, but clearly he did. And a lot of people did love him, right? But it's the way that they loved him. And then you think of the fact that, he just never really had a very successful marriage, someone, a partner, a lifelong partner. I think that if he would have had that, he would still be here with us. And that, well, I don't want to say that. That's not true either. You don't know, but I do think it would have helped, to keep him here longer with us, maybe, because he was just alone for a lot of his life, he was just suffering alone and just trying to give and give and give. And I think, I hand out, a heart that needs your love, all I do is hand out a heart that needs your love. That lyric right there, you could apply it to the things that he did for us, for the fans. He was putting out music, he went on tours, and he did have a hiatus here and there, and he was coming back with This Is It, but he was going to do that, he was going to give back. He dedicated all of his life to music, to performing, to giving us this, it's not just, a song, of a specific, he's not, you don't just have to think of it as like him, reaching out to someone specifically, someone, to be in a relationship, you could also think of it like we got so much from him, right? And we didn't treat him the way he should have. I think that's partly true. Obviously, he dealt with a lot of scrutiny and tabloid nonsense, sensationalism, and I think people to this day are still very divisive on him, and that's a whole other topic that I've talked about. But I think him as a person, he is sort of, I think the United States particularly, I think the rest of the world is a little bit more kind to Michael Jackson than the United States, but I think there's a reason why he never really toured back to the United States again. He never really, he always loved being abroad. He just didn't feel like he was liked or loved, like as much in the U.S., his home country, as opposed to the rest of the world. And I think that in many ways, he's just talking about his loneliness. His he felt like an outsider. He felt like no one trusted him. No one loved him anymore. I think we casted him out in many ways, right? But, nevertheless, I mean, he was still, he's still the king of pop, obviously, right? His records were still selling. People still listen to his music. And I think to this day, I think people still listen to him more than ever. Sometimes it feels like it's not that way, but again, maybe it's because I live in America, and I think, sort of the dialogue around MJ is just kind of, it's the thing where it's like, yeah, MJ, but then there's that big elephant in the room, and you know what that elephant in the room is, right? And so I think he knew that, and I think he was just trying to be like, can we move this elephant out of the room, please? And that elephant in the room, is a lot of those things as well. It translates back into the more, kind of surface level, just, relationship theme that the song has, which is like the elephant in the room between him and someone else that he is interested in is the fact that that person is probably going to see MJ as an opportunity, as a larger than life persona that will make it impossible for that person to love MJ purely, right? But it's all just very, unfortunate and complex, and it was difficult anyway, because obviously MJ was very jaded, still, but he struggled, man. And I think the vulnerability in this song is very special. And, you know, I think the greatness of the song is multiplied when you think of the man who wrote it. So anyway, those are my thoughts on Someone Put Your Hand Out by Michael Jackson. For some reason, I feel like I've already done a video on this song, and if I have, Jesus Christ. I don't think so. I think I've been meaning to do it for a while, and I finally did it. But anyways, give this video a like if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't. Comment down below. Let me know what you think. I'm curious to know. Do you like this song? Do you dislike this song? Do you agree with me? Do you have a new take that you think I didn't consider? I'd love to know your thoughts. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoy this content and you want to see more stuff like this. Let me know what other MJ song you would like me to cover next. If it's your birthday, happy birthday to you, you beautiful creature. But I think that's it for me. You all take care, stay safe, and until next time, I love you.